lawyer, content creator, advocate, matcha drinker, Soph-in-law. Welcome to Milwaukee Based.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here.
Thanks for coming in. Wondering if you could tell us a bit about your journey from, starting that podcast about navigating law school to kind of making TikToks and becoming one of Milwaukee's biggest influencers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ironically, my sister had begged me for 3 years to get a TikTok, and I refused, and I refused, and I refused. And then when I was applying to law schools, I was watching so many YouTube videos about people in law school, lawyers, and I just was not finding anybody that I related to. Like, I felt like there were these two extremes. People were crying every single day, hated law school, freaking out all the time, or they just didn't care and it was really easy. And I said, neither of those are going to be my experience. I already know I'm a stressful person, but I just don't think I'm going to be crying every single day. So I decided I would make a TikTok right before I started law school. I made it a month before I started law school and started posting pretty much every day religiously. I actually didn't take a day off from posting for like a year and a half into having a TikTok. I posted every single day, and I just made it my video journal. Made a lot of mutuals, connected with Brianne, who her username is Brianne-in-Law. So that's how we connected, and then we started our podcast because we thought some of the advice that was getting out there on TikTok was just unreasonable and didn't fit like the average student. She definitely did a lot better than me in law school, but we just found that a lot of the advice was geared towards people who came from pretty privileged backgrounds, and neither of that was our experience. So that's how that started with the podcast. And then actually 2 years into my TikTok career is when I started talking about Milwaukee. So only half the time I've been on TikTok, I've been talking about Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm. So now you have like a wide variety of audiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So you've like gained this level of fame now. Do you feel it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pretty much everywhere I go in public, I get recognized or stopped. It really hit me this past summer because someone asked for a photo together. And I was like, what? Why do you want a picture with me? But it's happened more times since then. But it's really sweet. It's always really cool, local people. Mm-hmm. So it's never anything where I'm like, no, get away. It's always just been really great, cool, interesting people. So it's been good.
Awesome. Love that.
A lot of your content has focused on kind of demystifying the legal field. Mm-hmm. And so rewinding a little bit, how did you decide to go into law in the first place?
Yeah, long journey. In undergrad, actually since I was 8 years old, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to go to medical school. I wanted to do Doctors Without Borders. I was like, I'm going to learn a bunch of languages. I'm going to go a bunch of places and help a bunch of people. Going through undergrad, though, I just hated what I was doing. I didn't like my biology major. It was super ecology based. I didn't enjoy that. So I ended up dropping my bio major, switching to chemistry, and then I also had a Spanish major. And during my senior year, there was actually a few racist incidents on campus. I got really involved in planning the protest, dealing with sort of the paperwork, making sure everyone was safe on campus, organizing it, writing the statement to the dean, that kind of stuff, statement to the chancellor. And during that time, we did, all these trainings to keep everyone who was participating safe, trainings on how to deal with the police as students on a public campus, things like that. And it got me really interested in policy. So I was like, okay, I need to do something else. I cannot go to medical school. This is not the life for me. And I had already taken the MCAT and was like preparing to apply to medical school. And I said, nope, this isn't it. So I switched actually my senior year and said, at least I'll learn about the law and I'll go into policy or not, and I'll be a practicing attorney or not, but I'll go and at least learn. And now I am a practicing attorney. So I did go that route. I didn't go the policy route, but I'm still very interested in it for sure.
What was your experience in law school like?
It was definitely a mixed bag when I got there because I had moved to Milwaukee for law school. I'm not from Milwaukee. I was really excited. I immersed myself in the social scene really quickly. I really wanted to make friends. I wanted to get into like the law school life of things. And so I was super, super social. It was a really good time when it was probably the hardest academic thing I've ever gone through in my entire life. And it was really stressful and really anxiety inducing because it was so much new stuff. You basically are learning a new language. You're learning how to write in a completely different way. You're learning how to read the law, interpret the law. That was really overwhelming, but luckily, and some people don't agree, I chose to have a fellow law student as my roommate, so we suffered together. And we were interested in very, very different things, so it never felt like we were in competition with each other. We could study together, we could help each other out, we could complain with each other. So the first year was definitely hard. Second year was also definitely hard because they just work you to death. That's when you start your internships. You have harder classes. You have a mix of classes. And then 3L was pretty chill. It's your last year. I took a lot of very interesting classes, including canon law, which is about the law of the Catholic Church, which super random, but I mean, Marquette's a Jesuit school, so that class was super cool. I took a civil rights and education class. I took an immigration class, like whole wide array community and economic development, which is probably one of my favorite classes that I took. So I'm really interested in property law and housing equity and stuff like that, which I talk about a lot, especially for Milwaukee. But yeah, last year was much better than the first year for sure.
I heard you in another interview kind of talk about some of the social dynamics of law school and like maybe beef with the dental school.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Yes. Yeah. So for Marquette specifically, the law school is super new and nice. Stunning building. It's really nice. It's a great place to study. But during finals, the dental students love to come into the law school. And so you look around and all of a sudden there's all these people in blue scrubs, which none of us are wearing anything fancy to school usually, except for the people who have jobs or internships. So you see people in sweatpants and you see people in scrubs. So you know exactly who the dental students are taking up our tables, taking up our study rooms. Sometimes the undergrads do it too, but they at least get locked out of the upper floors, so they can't go up there. But yeah, there's definitely study time finals beef with the dental students.
They don't even go here. They don't even go here.
And they have to walk like however many blocks, 6 blocks or something to come to the school. Like, you have a nice building too. Come on. The business school is right there. Go to the business school. It just opened.
Business school. Yeah.
It's the same. Big glass windows. They got it.
Sure. What do you think people, what are some of people's like biggest misconceptions about going to law school, becoming a lawyer?
That everyone's a square, that everyone's super boring, or a liar, or a swindler, or a scammer. Like, there's a big scammer reputation in the law, which definitely there are some scammers. There's for sure some scammers. But in general, the majority of the population that goes to law school is very average, normal people. And I think when you think of law school, you think of all the really prestigious institutions. You're like, you got to go to Harvard, you got to go to Northwestern, you got to go to Yale or whatever. And I know people who go to all of those law schools or have gone to all of those law schools. Very normal, regular people. There are definitely some. There's always going to be some cuckoos at every law school, but for the most part, it's the most regular people. Like, it's just someone who's interested in being a lawyer, helping people, or just having a steady job. Like, it's a fairly secure job, so.
Awesome. So in a previous interview, you've mentioned the pro bono work that you've done, and you've mentioned like specifically non-English speaking clients that you've worked with. So what attracted you to that kind of work, and like what capacity were you helping those clients in?
Honestly, going back to when I was 8 and I said, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to learn a bunch of languages, I'm going to do Doctors Without Borders. I grew up speaking French. My dad's from Morocco, and that was my parents' common language. So I grew up speaking French and English. So Spanish was just kind of the easiest one to learn, and also that's the only one that my school offered. So I took Spanish all 4 years of high school. And then when I went off to college, I knew that I wanted to major in Spanish and major in something else. So that's what I did. I studied abroad in Spain, and then I also taught English in Mexico because I came back and my Spanish accent was just not it. It was not going to help me serve people here. In undergrad, I did a lot of volunteer work translating. I translated at an elementary school for like pre-K students who didn't speak any English, and I would like do their worksheets with them. I worked at an orchard in undergrad, so I would do like the health and safety trainings for the migrant workers there. So from undergrad on, basically, I was doing volunteer work in Spanish specifically, or doing interpreting work. And then when I started law school, I knew for sure that I wanted to do any type of volunteer work that I could, and the main one in law school is pro bono. Marquette has a really strong pro bono volunteer system. A lot of alums still participate. It's ran by alums and students. So during law school, I started my second semester of my first year, and I worked the same exact clinic every single week, which is the United Community Center on the south side. So probably half of the population that comes in for legal assistance speak Spanish and only speak Spanish. Mm-hmm. So when I started volunteering there, they put me in the front right away. Like, I ran the front table, I checked everyone in, I helped them fill out forms, translated for them, and then I would get pulled back and I would translate for the students and attorneys. And then now as an attorney, I go and I just, obviously I interpret for myself, I translate for myself and help people in English and Spanish. So
love that. That's amazing. And your clients also include like locals impacted by the housing crisis. What is the support that you provide to like clients who are either being evicted or who are like victims of the housing crisis? Like, what sort of support do you provide for them?
Yeah, so actually during law school, I did do a housing internship with Eviction Free MKE through Legal Action. So I did specifically spend a semester doing that, and essentially they represent clients on a pro bono basis because it's county funding and outside funding for the Eviction Free MK program. So the attorneys from Legal Action, they have a sort of clinic at the courthouse. So you can come in to Suite 401. That's where they do eviction court. You go in there, they do consults in person, and then they basically assign you an attorney to go into court with you day of. So they do the assistance for that. I didn't actually do that as a student when I was interning, but I helped do sort of like background research. I would be there in person, help with intake, stuff like that. And then they'll represent the individuals when the landlords either come in or like some of the bigger equity firms and property management places, they'll send their own attorneys. So there'll be an attorney on the other side as well sometimes. So they'll be in there kind of arguing back and forth. A lot of the times it's like payment plans. They work out payment plans, or they say, hey, just give us an extension and this person will be out. Just don't put this eviction on their record. Like, just don't. Let's not do that. So a lot of times it's figuring that out. They'll do expungements, so sealing of the eviction records if they're, X amount in the past or things have moved on since then. So it's a lot of representation in court or sort of like bouncing them around to someone else who also does like eviction help or housing resources. There's another nonprofit called Community Advocates, which will help with rental payments, and there's other nonprofits that do similar work as well.
Mm-hmm. Overall, kind of what have those like pro bono experiences kind of taught you about the Milwaukee housing crisis or housing crisis in Milwaukee?
Yeah, well, it's bad. First off, I learned about it firsthand because of pro bono, and then I kind of sought more information after that. So your first year of law school, you take what are called doctrinals, and those are sort of the set courses that every single first year law student takes. And most schools, I think literally only Yale doesn't require it. Most schools take property law their very first year or at some point during law school. And I was really fortunate, and I had Professor Papke, who is actually from Milwaukee, grew up in Milwaukee, left for school, came back, and is also very passionate about Milwaukee. So he taught property law from a very Milwaukee-based, like very focused perspective on what is happening in Milwaukee or case studies from Milwaukee for what we were learning. So that kind of got me enmeshed in it at the same time as I was doing pro bono. And I read both of Matthew Desmond's books, Evicted, which is about Milwaukee. It's a case study about the eviction crisis here. And then doing that internship, my second year of law school, was just heavily eviction work focused. It's bad. It's mostly Black single mothers who are evicted here in Milwaukee, but the Eviction Free MKE program has literally saved the county like millions of dollars just by being around and helping people. It saved the county filing fees. Like, it's done a lot. Mm-hmm. It's done a lot.
It's definitely very clear that like your passion for social justice has motivated your work as a lawyer. How does it motivate you like as an influencer in terms of like using your platform to speak out on various issues?
I mean, I'm heavy on the repost button. I'm very, very heavy on the repost button, but it gives me a lot of things to personally get educated on, which is nice. It's like inspiration to seek out knowledge from me and also encourage the people who follow me to sort of take a second glance at those things. I feel like typically if I care about something, I'll at least make one video about it. So it's like search a topic and see if a video of mine kind of pops up. And I do sort of take that approach or try to scale it to Wisconsin or scale it to Milwaukee or the area that we're in. Like when everything was happening October 7th, I made a lot of sort of perspective videos population-wise. Like if these bombings in Gaza were happening in Milwaukee, what would that mean? If this amount of hospitals are being destroyed, what would that mean for the Milwaukee area? Things like that, population-wise, scale-wise, things like that, just to give people a frame of reference of if this was happening to us, which, I mean, I think you should already be caring about it, but if this were to happen to us, what would that actually look like in effect here with what we have going on? So I definitely try to do things like that, try to cover as much as I care about, but I also read a lot, so I think I sort of show that based on the types of books that I read, especially the nonfiction books that I choose to read, and just share that as like inspiration for people to also sort of dig a little deeper or, you know, look something up. I'm like, just look it up. Like, try a little bit on your own. You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, so Milwaukee Based is a podcast about, like, local internet culture.
Mm-hmm.
How has Milwaukee Talk or the Milwaukee influencer scene grown and changed since you started posting your videos?
Yeah, I feel like even now I'm still begging people to post more because I also want to see what other people get up to and what things they like to do and the things that they care about. When I first started my TikTok, like I said, I had done 2 full years of just about law school in my life, basically. And after my second year of law school, I said, you know what? I'm going to start posting about Milwaukee. I have so many things to say. I have so many videos of stuff that I've done and pictures I've taken that I just don't share because I don't share that I live in Milwaukee. So I just started sharing that I was living in Milwaukee. I still didn't say anything about Marquette specifically, but I was just like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is my life in Milwaukee. And then obviously people are putting things together and, you know, people would recognize stuff in the background and they would know that I was in Milwaukee, but typically people wouldn't like expose me or anything like that. But when I started doing that, there just wasn't anyone else. Like, there were a lot of food people, a lot of food content creators, but there was no one really speaking about events besides Visit Milwaukee and like Discover Milwaukee, which is a couple who post a lot of good videos. But there was no one else talking about the things that they actually go to, the cultural events or sort of what's going on, friend making events, hangout things, or just like things that people like. I was like, I want to see people around my age doing fun stuff. Like, I'm not seeing that and I want to see that. And I still want to see that because I'm like, there can always be more people, but.
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, you've done a lot of food review videos.
Yeah.
And what I'd love to do next is sort of a this or that bracket for Milwaukee restaurants. That
Okay.
So yeah, I've got a list here.
All right, drum roll.
Let's see. Drum roll, please. Let's start it off with Blue's Egg or Uncle Wolfie's.
Uncle Wolfie's.
Okay. Uncle Wolfie's or Toast?
Toast.
Toast or Ian's Pizza?
Toast.
Okay. Toast or Fixture Pizza?
Toast.
Toast or La Masa?
La Masa. I love La Masa.
I love La Masa. La Masa is great. La Masa or Paloma?
La Masa.
Okay. La Masa or Cafe India?
Oh my God, these are like my top 2.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh. If I had to say just me personally, Cafe India.
Okay.
But I think I take more people to La Masa.
All right.
Yeah.
So is that Cafe India? Is that Cafe India then?
For my number 1?
Yeah.
There's another contender.
Well, I've got more.
More? Okay.
But as for La Masa and Cafe India, what's your final?
Cafe India.
Okay. Cafe India or Dynamite?
Cafe India.
Cafe India or Thai Kitchen?
Cafe India.
Cafe India or Szechuan?
Ooh. I'll go Szechuan.
Okay. Wow. Cafe India is unseated. Szechuan or Maru Korean?
Szechuan.
Szechuan or Odd Duck?
Odd Duck.
Odd Duck or Aperitivo?
Odd Duck.
Okay. Odd Duck or Screaming Tuna?
Odd Duck.
Odd Duck or Hungry Sumo?
Oh, that's really hard. Ooh, Hungry Sumo.
Odd Duck, or sorry. Hungry Sumo or Kawa?
Hungry Sumo.
Hungry Sumo or Pho Saigon?
That one's hard too. I'm like, there's so many different ways. These are my favorites. I'll still go Hungry Sumo. I'll still go Hungry Sumo.
Okay. Okay, two more.
Oh, this is big bracket.
Yeah. Hungry Sumo or Culver's?
Hungry Sumo.
Hungry Sumo or
Although
Pops?
I do love Culver's. Hungry Sumo.
All right, Hungry Sumo wins.